when we think about why there are fewer girls in STEM, we often hear two explanations. Maybe that girls don't have the confidence to go in those fields. Or that's maybe something where boys are good at more naturally. That engineering, technology, is more something that they fit right, and where girls, on the other hand, have more difficulties to try to find their path. Or maybe that these careers are lonely, boring, for people who like to sit in front of a computer all day, looking at numbers. Guess what? I don't believe any of that. I don't believe that STEM belongs just to one gender, and I certainly don't believe that it's due to lack of ability. Actually, I think that something else is happening behind the scenes. Let me show you something. Studies shows that, on average, women, when applying for jobs, will think, I need to be good at all the criteria that I will see in the job description. If they look at the whole list and one of them they think they might not be able to do it, they will say, it's not for me. I'm not going to apply for it because I'm not going to be good at it. While on the contrary, and on average again, men would tend to say, among that list, I think I can do half. That job is for me. Let me go and apply. Personally, when I heard that, something clicked. I thought, really? I really don't have to be good at everything. If I feel I can do it, I can apply. Worst case scenario, what's going to happen? They're just going to say no, and that's it. And that's why, for me, I think it's not about intelligence. It's not even about biology, but it's about the higher standards that women put upon themselves, even before we want to try. And I've thought about the workplace, but I think it goes way beyond that, and much before, when you need to choose what you're going to study. I think that a lot of women would look at one field, engineering, or something else in STEM, and think, I don't think I can be good at everything. I'm going to wait until I'm ready. And if you couple that with the idea that it's just a boy's thing, it's just easy to step aside and let it go away for somebody else. So if there's one thing I want you to remember today, and for somebody that would have told me that earlier, actually, is you don't have to be ready to belong in STEM. And I will share with you 3 of my experiences where I've seen some of these bias or myths, where I think I need to have higher standards, and why I think they're absolutely not true. Myth number 1. You have to be great at everything. Does that resonate with some of you? Show of hands? Okay, I got it. I got my audience. So let me explain to you, when I had to choose my studies, I decided to go for business engineering. There were some math class, some business class, management, economics, but there was also chemistry and physics. Chemistry was fine, okay, I passed it, no big drama, but still it was not my forte. But physics, on the other hand, I do remember sitting of that exam for something I'd studied for weeks on hand before, because I knew it was not something I was good at. And I could even have the calculator with me, because we didn't want to spend some time in mental math, so I had no excuse. I really did give the best I could. And how much did I score? 2 out of 20. Not my biggest moment, as you can imagine. I was like, wow, how was that possible? I studied, but I just didn't understand what I needed to do. So as a normal exam, I could do it again, and I gave it all the best I could. I studied, I did the exercises, I went to the extra class, I proved myself. I got 3 out of 20. Yoo-hoo! So I'm laughing about it today because, you got to, but I wasn't laughing back then. I was thinking, how am I ever going to pass this class? Does it mean I'm going to fail my whole bachelor, my whole study, and my whole career? What am I going to do? So in this case, with the help of my mom, we actually went and got a high school teacher to try to just teach me the basics. No university teacher, no specialized physics teacher. Just somebody to tell me how the basics work so that I could just go and have 10, even 9. Would have been great. So ultimately, that worked. I was able to pass that exam, very minimum, but again, that was done. A couple of years later, I decided to go for an Erasmus in Ghent, in Belgium, in the Dutch-speaking part, where I was living and studying in the French-speaking part. And a little bit after I enrolled, I realized something. I'm going to have to do physics again. And this time in Dutch. Great life choice decision. Why did I put myself there again? Ultimately, it was very difficult. Why? Because even it was in a different language that I didn't understand so well. All the terms were different. So I asked the teacher for help. After class, I asked her to explain to me the parts that I just couldn't follow in the class. She saw that I cared. She helped me out, and I managed to pass. So, as I said, I passed with the minimum. That's all I needed. Did it mean that I didn't score great in other classes? No. Did it mean that I didn't graduate with a good grade? No. Did it mean that then I couldn't have a good career? No. Because I didn't need to be good at everything, just the ones that resonated with me. And this actually made me realize something else, is that I always had this idea that people working in STEM were like scientists with their lab coats in their laboratories doing super theoretical research and whatnot. But no, it's much more broader than that. Especially if you think about engineering and technology, it's all about solving problems. Taking something you don't know and figuring it out step by step. If you already know the answer to it, what would be the point? Nobody would expect you to come and know how to solve the problem, because that's part of the process. That's part of the job. That's part of what the STEM is for. So for this myth, solving problems. So for this myth, if there's something you need to remember, is that the real barrier is not ability, it's the rule that you apply to yourself. Now, I'll move on to the second myth of today. One choice defines your whole life. And I feel like this might resonate with you as high school students who need to understand and pick what they're going to study for the next few years. And I want to explain to you why I really believe this is not true. So after I graduated my bachelor, I had to choose a master, and I had 3 options. Either it was enterprise auditing, or supply chain management, or financial engineering. I thought, I like mathematics. Let me pick the finance one and give it a go. I probably like it. Again, after a few weeks and months in that master, I realized I hate finance. I completely hate it. Like, the projects we were working on, they didn't really click with me. The concept we were learning about financial derivatives, market analysis, financial market analysis, it was not just interesting for me. And also, when I remember when I had to send CVs and cover letters and sit in interviews to find an internship, it was really difficult. People could see that there was no spark. I was not interested. And it was a very anxious period for me to find an internship, actually. So I thought, instead of thinking, I ruined it, I picked the wrong study, I ruined my life, I ruined my career, I'll just go cry in a corner, I decided to think, what other path can I take? What can I actually take from this that I actually like. So I thought, okay, I like when we were doing modeling, data modeling on Excel, for example. I liked it when we were doing a little bit of coding, little scripts. And at the end of the day, I still like to turn numbers into some insights. So I did a bit of research of what could I do with those interests. And then I found it. Ta-da! I found the world of data and analytics. I started to do online courses, extra certifications, and it was just easy. It was something I liked, I was interested in, I wasn't dragging to go into the class, I was actually looking forward to it, and really, this was for me. And what I want to say also is that I don't think that finance is bad. I don't think that this is a world that I think we should not go in. It's just it wasn't where I belong and where I found what I liked. So 6 months before graduating, I actually found a job in consulting, in data and technology, even though I was holding a finance degree. And actually, this part of changing is just the whole story of my career. I kept changing jobs and fields. I started as a data developer in telecom, where I had to look into the company's system, where there were some data flows issues. Then I moved into marketing as a data analyst, where I had to learn all about email campaigns, looking at clicks, at open rates, website engagement by customers. Then I moved again. I went in payments as a business intelligence engineer, when I had to learn all about a new regulation and build the data systems to be able to be the foundation of that new development on our website. Then I moved again. I moved in supply chain management as a tech manager, where I had to learn all about inventory management, where to place products in which warehouses, where to get them from, how to optimize that. And there also I was a tech manager, meaning it was a complete new set of skills I needed. I needed to manage their performance, their career, make sure they're happy, make sure that they deliver. And then I changed again to my current job, where I went into transportation as a senior data product manager, meaning I needed to learn how to create schedules for trucks coming in and out of warehouses, how to make sure to optimize how they are filled, that we put as many packages in them as we can. And then as product manager, my job was to think about what we were going to work on for the next year, and then give it to somebody else to go and execute. So for the myth number 2, what I want you to remember is that your studies, they give you tools. They don't define your entire future. They give you some indication of what can be your next step. Now I already moved to the 3rd myth and the last one of this talk, which is my favorite, which is doing it alone makes you stronger. We often believe that if I don't ask for help, I will have more merit. Let me really say that I am opposed to that thinking. I think having mentors and network is what is going to push you forward even faster. Let me explain again with a few examples. So, for example, there was an internal conference where there was a guy presenting about data visualization, where I thought, he's actually very good at it. I'm really liking how he presents and what he says. After the conference, I went to introduce myself. I asked him to mentor me for a couple of weeks. Then, unfortunately, he left the country. But a few years later, when I was in the line at work for coffee, he was there again. Somehow he moved back to Luxembourg. We got in touch again. He reviewed my work for a promotion I was applying. Apparently he liked it. And he did even hire me in his team a few months later. Another example I can give is that at some point I was not really sure what my next step would be. There was the lady I knew with whom I worked together on organizing a conference. I really admire how she worked, how she led her team, and I really wanted to work with her and get her opinion. So I called her and I say, hey, I feel a bit stuck. What do you think I could do? She actually told me, I think you'll be great in product management, where I never thought about it. And she actually created an opportunity for me. So you might tell me, that's just cheating. You're using people you know to find opportunities for you. Again, I really don't believe that. On the contrary, when you know people, they know you for who you are, what you can do, what you cannot do, what you're really good at, your potential. It's not limited to one interview, one exam, that maybe you were sick the day before and didn't do it well, or like a project that you had to deliver, but somehow it didn't work. They really know you, and they will work with you to create the right opportunity for you. And as I like to say, I like to put pins on people like that. Not like in a creepy way, pinning them, but like professionally, you know? Just like if there's someone you admire, that you like, introduce yourself and get them to know you. Maybe you will never talk to them again in the future. Maybe they will ask you for help. Or maybe you will work with them and they will help you. So this is, for me, the most important. Because you cannot grow alone. You can only go so far. It's when you're supported that you can actually grow exponentially. So, out of these 3 myths, I would like you to remember one thing. Is that it's not that girls don't have the ability to go in STEM. It's that we thought from the very beginning that we need to excel at everything. That we need to be sure we're going to be great to go and do something. And if you were ready, then it's too late. If you already know everything about a topic, what's the point of going to study it? So, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be certain. And you don't have to do it alone. You just have to start. Thank you.